Good morning. My streak of never following Howard Shapiro has now come to an end. That guy is a legend. 2 years ago on the EAT stage, I spoke publicly for the first time about my idea for FoodShot Global, a new collaborative investment platform that I wanted to form. Now FoodShot Global has become a reality, and I'm grateful for the EAT Forum has given me the opportunity to return and talk about the organization. But first, I want to talk about soil. In the last year, I've become pretty obsessed with soil as a medium, as a system, and as an urgent global challenge. The loss of organic matter in soil could be the most underappreciated environmental crisis humanity now faces. But it's not just an environmental crisis, it's becoming a food security and human health crisis. I believe we need to build a new soil operating system. Where breakthroughs in research, technology, new business models, and farming practices are unifying to form a 21st agricultural system. But before we build a new soil operating system, we need to understand what soil is. Webster's dictionary defines soil as the upper layer of earth in which plants grow, a black or dark brown material typically consisting of a mixture of organic matter, clay, and rock particles. Well, that may be what soil is, but it was not what it is its essence. I'd rather define soil this way. Soil is the realm. Soil is the realm in which microbial life recycles the remains of higher life into the raw materials of new life. Let's think about that for a moment. Recycles the remains of higher life into the raw materials of new life. Gone is the idea of soil as dirt, a simple passive medium for the delivery of chemical nutrients. Instead, soil is a dynamic medium, a submerged celestial space entrusted by nature in creating life. At a systems level, soil is the nexus, the inflection point between agriculture and climate change. The data highlighting this is compelling and startling. 4.4 billion tons of CO2 released each year. 25% of the world's agricultural soils have been damaged. 10 million hectares of cropland are lost annually because of soil erosion. That's 30 football fields every minute. And for every 0.1 meter of soil eroded, yields are lost 4%. There's a 10% loss of yields for every 1 degree rise in temperature. But the systems problems are deeper than that. In addition to linking agriculture and climate change, soil is the nexus between agriculture, climate change, and nutrition. In 2050, when population growth is expected to be 10 billion and CO2 concentrations could be as high as 550 ppm, nutritional levels of protein, iron, and zinc, and otherwise stable crops, such as wheat and rice, will be lowered by 3 to 17%. The Harvard study that is the basis of this projection identifies these future nutritional impacts. 2 billion people will be deficient in at least one or more nutrients. 1.4 billion women of childbearing age and children under 5 will be at high risk for iron deficiency. 122 million people will be protein deficient, and 175 million people will be zinc deficient. So we've made some progress in understanding the quantification of impacts of food and agriculture on the environment. We call those externalities, the unaccounted for true costs of our agricultural system on the environment. We have to extend this thinking to a relationship between our food and agricultural systems and the impacts on human health. I'm calling those impacts internalities. We need to capture these internalities, the unaccounted for true costs on food and human health. So now that we have a link between the interdependence of food system to the environment and human health, to their externalities and internalities, What are we going to do? And at the topic here at EAT, how can governance help us to better design and execute solutions? When I co-founded S2G Ventures, I believed that it was necessary changes to our food system would be driven by innovation and innovators, that they would always be moving faster than governments and regulatory bodies. I believed that implementing my thesis of systems investing to a soil-to-shelf approach, we would offer a new way to catalyze innovation and investment to better align food to the future. I believe this made sense not only on a mission basis, but on a performance basis, maximizing ROI and minimizing failure. I founded FoodShot Global in a continuing effort to find a new model, a new path for accelerating positive change in the food system. As a venture capitalist, I believe that this made sense by finding a multi-stakeholder blended financial approach, which was part of a comprehensive toolkit for global food system change. FoodShot Global is the organizational embodiment of that idea. With organizational innovation, accordingly, new approaches to governance was needed. FoodShot Global has 3 mandates: to achieve its mission to transform the food system into one that is more healthy, sustainable, and accessible. Mandate 1, to start with the problems first. What are we trying to solve? And how do we turn these problems into opportunities for investment and innovators? Mandate 2, address these issues through a multi-stakeholder, multidisciplinary approach to collaborate. Now, partnership is not enough. True collaboration requires a bending of internal mandates and milestones, a realignment of siloed strategies to find a path forward of shared values, shared risk, and shared opportunity. And to this end, we are honored to have built a world-class group of collaborators representing the leading banks, venture funds, corporations, foundations, universities, and nonprofits. Mandate 3, to deploy capital in a long horizon capital continuum, investing in cutting-edge early-stage companies all the way through high-growth transformative companies. To do this, we have a blended capital platform of equity, debt, and non-dilutive capital. We have aggregated up to $10 million a year in equity and debt and have established the Groundbreaker Prize, a $535,000 a year prize for groundbreaking work in research, public policy, advocacy, and social enterprise. In its first year, I believe that there were several key factors that enabled FSG to successfully innovate with regards to multi-stakeholder governance. The main point here is that as a multi-stakeholder organization, we determine what problems to take on, how to approach it collaboratively, and to deploy capital to best catalyze change, and to build the needed legal, communications, and innovation infrastructure to support that work. Over time, not only does each partner realize individual organization benefits, but the goals of the collaborative platform also advance. So, what were the results of this collaborative approach? Well, yesterday afternoon, 6,000 miles away, at the Stone Barn Center for Food and Agriculture, I was thrilled to present the FoodShot Global inaugural Groundbreaker Awards, where we honored the recipients of the Groundbreaker Prize and the Groundbreaker Equity Prize. The Groundbreaker Prize was awarded to 2 people. Dr. Keith Palstian. Keith has developed an innovative open source platform called Comet. Comet provides the ability to model GHG and carbon sequestration levels and result from choices on crops, which include soil type, localized weather data, rotations, and yield targets. This work will be catalytic for stakeholders, including farmers, policymakers, agricultural food companies, and even insurance company. The second award went to Gerlinde van de Dijen, Wageningen University. Gerlinde is at the forefront of fundamental and critical science that will define the biological, chemical, and physical symbiosis between soil and plants. Her work is aimed at providing more actionable, understandable of productivity, nutrient cycling, disease suppression, and carbon sequestration. At Wageningen, she was pioneering new methods of the remote sensing of crops and envisioning a farming system that is deeply knowledge-based, dynamic, and technologically intelligent. We awarded the Groundbreaker Seed Prize to Dorn Cox, the Wolf Next Center for Agriculture and Environment. Dorn has an ambitious vision of using collaborative open source systems called Open Team to democratize access to environment data and providing universal access to site-specific global agricultural knowledge. We awarded the Groundbreaker Equity Prize of $3 million to Trace Genomics. Trace Genomics for their work creating the largest, most actionable body of soil intelligence, a veritable genome project for soil. Trace uses DNA sequencing, predictive analytics to help ground truth our soils. Armed with dynamic data, Trace Genomics helps growers in a resource and margin-constrained world to maximize the value of every acre. These groundbreakers are doing amazing work to advance 21st century soil operating system. Now, this is a critical time in the development of humanity and human systems. We have to be more urgent, bolder, smarter, more inclusive, more collaborative, more science and data-driven. And most importantly, we have to be more figuratively and literally more invested in our shared future. Thank you.